Welcome back to the channel Coin Dealer everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we dive into a fascinating story that combines history, rarity, and the thrill of hidden treasures that could be lying unnoticed in your pocket change, because in this video we are going to talk about one of the most unbelievable discoveries in the world of coin collecting, the 1998 1-cent penny coin. A coin that was originally produced to hold a face value of just a single cent, but in reality under the right circumstances can be worth a staggering $130 million, and the reason behind such a gigantic difference in value is not random hype or simple speculation. It is rooted in real minting errors, mistakes, and peculiarities that turn an otherwise ordinary piece of copper-plated zinc into a highly coveted rarity desired by serious collectors all over the globe. And when you begin to understand the fascinating world of numismatics, you will realize that it is the tiniest flaws, the minuscule deviations from perfection, that have the power to elevate a coin from something practically worthless in everyday use to a jaw-dropping artifact with historical, financial, and collector significance. So let us take a closer look at why the 1998 penny can be so valuable and how errors such as mint mark misplacements, double strikes, planchet mistakes, die imperfections, and other anomalies contribute to its legendary status, because when a coin is struck at the United States Mint, it is supposed to follow strict quality control and design standards, yet sometimes imperfections slip through the cracks, and when they do and the error is significant enough, it creates a numismatic rarity. And in the case of the 1998 penny, some coins were produced with mint mark errors, for example a misplaced or incorrectly sized mint mark that indicates where the coin was minted, and in some cases these mint marks were either doubled, shifted, missing, or appeared in places they should never have been, and that alone creates a unique identity for each flawed coin, making it essentially one of a kind. But that is not all, because additional striking mistakes also occurred, such as coins being struck off-center so that part of the design is missing, or being struck multiple times so that the image of Lincoln's profile appears doubled or blurred. And those details drastically increase the value, since they are rare in circulation and highly sought after by collectors who specialize in error coins. And if we look deeper into the composition, we find that pennies after 1982 were primarily zinc with a thin copper coating, yet sometimes planchet errors caused the wrong metal blanks to be used, leading to a coin that might look like a normal penny but has a different weight and metallic makeup. And in some instances, a 1998 penny might have been accidentally struck on a leftover copper planchet from pre-1982, which adds another layer of uniqueness and value. And when you combine these anomalies with the natural laws of supply and demand in the collector market, the prices can skyrocket, because when there are only a handful of such error coins in existence and collectors compete to own them, the bidding wars can push values to unimaginable heights, and that is how you arrive at the unbelievable price tag of $130 million for a single penny that carries these rare mistakes and historical quirks. And to put it into perspective, imagine holding a coin in your hand that everyone else might ignore as a common cent, yet knowing that with the right error and the right buyer it is worth more than luxury homes, rare cars, and even priceless art pieces. And that is the magic of coin collecting, because it transforms everyday objects into treasures. So the possibilities of owning such a coin are slim but not impossible, because circulation allows for coins with errors to slip into the hands of ordinary people. And stories have surfaced of individuals finding rare error pennies in jars, drawers, or pocket change, and later discovering that they were worth life-changing amounts of money, which is why coin collectors emphasize careful examination of every detail, from the mint mark and date to the edges, weight, and strike quality. And the 1998 penny has become a legend in this sense, because while most 1998 pennies are only worth 1 cent, the rare few with these remarkable mistakes could be among the most valuable coins ever discovered. And the moral of this story is to always pay attention to small details, because the world of numismatics proves that perfection is not always valuable, but imperfection, when rare, can be priceless. And every single coin is like a time capsule, carrying not only its intended design but also the possibility of hidden anomalies. So whether you are a seasoned collector or just someone curious about the fascinating stories that hide in plain sight, the 1998 penny serves as a powerful reminder that great value can come from the smallest and most unexpected places, and the excitement lies in the fact that no one knows where the next great error coin will be discovered. It could be sitting unnoticed in your pocket change right now, waiting for a keen eye to uncover its extraordinary worth. Today, as we dive into one of the most fascinating and unbelievable stories from the world of coin collecting, where a simple 2004 1-cent penny, a coin that most people would toss in their change jar without a second thought, has been reported in some collectors' circles to have an astonishing estimated value of $237 million because of a combination of rare errors, unique mistakes, and highly unusual mint mark anomalies that set it apart from billions of other pennies that rolled out of the United States Mint that year. And while at first glance such a claim might sound too far-fetched to believe, the intriguing aspects of how minting errors occur, why collectors place so much value on them, and how a humble copper-plated zinc coin could become the center of numismatic fascination is what makes this topic so captivating. Because coins like the 2004 penny in question do not just serve as currency but also as tiny historical artifacts that can tell stories of manufacturing mishaps, overlooked flaws, and the obsessive passion of collectors who are always on the hunt for one-of-a-kind pieces. And when we talk about this particular penny's supposed worth of $237 million, it is not about the intrinsic value of the metal itself, since the 2004 penny contains only a thin copper plating over a zinc core and is worth just 1 cent in everyday transactions, but about the theoretical premium assigned by those who see in it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, a coin that through a combination of misplaced mint marks, striking errors, doubled images, or off-center designs has become something legendary. And while the average person may never notice anything unusual about a penny they pull from their pocket change, coin experts and enthusiasts know that errors like double dies, repunched mint marks, broad strikes, clipped planchets, or coins struck on the wrong metal planchet can transform an ordinary coin into a specimen worth thousands or even millions, and in rare cases, like the story of this 2004 penny, the belief that a single coin has not only multiple overlapping errors but also a highly unusual mint mark placement makes it appear to some like the rarest of the rare, a unique one-of-one in the entire world, and in the highly competitive world of numismatics, rarity drives value more than any other factor. Because if billions of identical coins exist but only one with a specific error survives, then collectors who want to own that piece of history may be willing to pay astronomical sums, and this helps explain why people speculate about a 2004 penny being worth hundreds of millions, because the more impossible the odds of its existence, the higher its potential desirability. And when we think about the process of minting coins, where blank planchets are fed into presses and struck by engraved dies under immense pressure at incredible speeds, it is not surprising that mistakes can occasionally slip through, and while quality control at the U.S. Mint is strict, no system is perfect, which is why collectors can find pennies with double strikes, off-center designs, missing layers of copper, or even mismatched designs that somehow escape detection, and each of these mistakes can add incremental value. But when multiple errors converge on one coin and combine with a misplaced or altered mint mark that throws the coin into an entirely new category of rarity, the perceived worth explodes beyond imagination, and in this case enthusiasts suggest that the 2004 penny in question may have an unusual mint mark error, perhaps a mispunch D for Denver or an overlapping mint mark from another year, combined with striking irregularities that set it apart as a potential once-in-history piece. And whether or not one agrees with the valuation of $237 million, what matters is that it sparks conversations about the importance of paying attention to the coins we often overlook, because in theory the next coin you receive as change at a store could be the one that carries a hidden error and could be worth far more than its face value, and that sense of possibility fuels the excitement behind coin hunting, driving people to examine every detail with magnifying glasses, reference books, and online forums where discoveries are debated endlessly. And in many ways the tale of the 2004 penny symbolizes how value is not always rooted in practical worth but in perception, rarity, and passion, because no collector actually needs to spend hundreds of millions on a penny. But if even one wealthy collector believes it is the only example of its kind and must have it for their collection, the theoretical price skyrockets, much like how art or rare artifacts can sell for sums that ordinary people find incomprehensible. And ultimately the story of the 2004 1-cent coin serves as a reminder that in the vast world of collectibles even the smallest object can capture imaginations and command attention if it carries with it the aura of uniqueness and the whisper of airborne rarity. So while most pennies from 2004 are destined to remain in circulation or sit forgotten in jars and drawers, one extraordinary coin has risen in legend to embody the idea that mistakes, accidents, and tiny imperfections can sometimes create perfection in the eyes of collectors. And that is what makes the claim of a $237 million penny not just about money but about the thrill of discovery, the passion of numismatics, and the enduring mystery of what hidden treasures might still be hiding in plain sight. we dive into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of coin collecting, a story that has captured the imagination of collectors, historians, and curious treasure seekers alike, because today we are going to explore the incredible tale of how a small and seemingly ordinary 1992 1-cent penny coin has been valued by some collectors and enthusiasts at an astronomical $$ for 12 million. A number that boggles the mind when you consider that its face value is just a single cent, and yet the coin's unique characteristics, minting mistakes, and rare features combine to create a perfect storm of desirability, rarity, and historic intrigue that makes it one of the most talked about modern coins in numismatic history. And the first thing to understand is that coins are mass-produced by the millions, sometimes even billions. And because of this sheer scale, there are bound to be occasional errors that slip through the strict controls of the US Mint, errors which are often destroyed before release, but every now and then one finds its way into circulation, and in the case of the 1992 penny, the error that made it legendary involves the use of a different design die that was not meant to be paired with that year's coin, specifically the close AM reverse variety, where the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse side of the coin is much closer than on the standard version. And though this may sound like a tiny detail that would be overlooked by almost everyone, in the world of coin collecting, such variations and misprints can mean the difference between an ordinary penny and a once-in-a-lifetime treasure, and this particular misalignment of design elements, known as the 1992 close AM Lincoln cent, is so rare that only a handful of them are believed to exist today, which immediately places them into the category of high-value rarities. And the staggering valuation of $$ for 12 million attached to one of these coins has its roots not only in its rarity but in the speculative enthusiasm of collectors, because when a coin is this unique, the laws of supply and demand reach extreme levels, with wealthy collectors willing to pay unbelievable amounts to own a piece of history. And what's more fascinating is that this isn't just about the close AM error, but about the possibility that multiple small mistakes happened simultaneously during the minting process, such as unusual die polishing marks, double dies, off-center strikes, or even mint mark anomalies, all of which can drastically raise a coin's desirability if they occur in conjunction with a known major variety. And some experts speculate that certain 1992 pennies may also show differences in font sharpness, relief depth, or subtle shifts in the Lincoln Memorial detail that further differentiate them from the standard issue, leading to even greater excitement among professional graders and auction houses, because when they verify the authenticity of such an error coin, the value skyrockets in ways that defy normal market logic. And when you think about it, the idea of paying hundreds of millions for a penny might sound absurd at first glance, but it reflects the psychology of collecting, where rarity, provenance, and historical oddities are valued above practical worth. And in fact, it is not the first time a coin has reached such dizzying heights of valuation, with other famous examples like the 1933 double eagle or the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar selling for multi-million-dollar amounts. And the 1992 penny's fame comes from being a modern coin, something many people alive today could have encountered in their pocket change without ever realizing its significance, which adds a layer of thrilling possibility for ordinary people who might wonder if one of these legendary coins is still out there hiding in a jar of pennies or in the back of a drawer. And that possibility fuels both the myth and the market, making the coin not just a collectible but a symbol of hidden fortune. And although skeptics argue that some valuations are inflated publicity stunts or speculative bubbles, the undeniable fact remains that the 1992 close AM penny is among the rarest and most sought-after modern US coins, and in the coin world, provenance can also add layers of value. For instance, if a particular specimen has been owned by a famous collector or featured in a major numismatic exhibition, then its price can leap dramatically higher, which is likely part of the story in the $$ for 12 million valuation, since once a coin gains a legendary reputation, it essentially becomes priceless to the right buyer. And the minting mistake itself is a fascinating case study in how small variations occur, because in 1992 the mint was preparing new reverse designs for the Lincoln cent that would be officially used in later years. And somehow a proof reverse die meant for a collector's set found its way into the production line for circulation coins, producing a tiny batch of cents with the wrong reverse, and when paired with the obverse of the 1992 coin, it created the exact kind of hybrid that collectors prize above all else, a transitional error. And transitional errors are historically among the most valuable of all coin varieties because they represent a moment of change, a slip during the transition from one design to another. And history shows that such accidents are exceedingly rare, occurring only in narrow windows of time before the mistake is corrected, which is exactly why the 1992 close AM penny is so remarkable, and when experts talk about mint mark errors they are referring to the small letters that designate where the coin was struck, such as Denver's D or Philadelphia's lack of a mint mark, and there are instances where mint marks have been misplaced, doubled, or even left off entirely, and such mistakes compound the value of any already rare coin. So it is always possible that one of the known 1992 close AM specimens might also show additional mint mark anomalies, pushing its worth into even higher realms, and for those who dream of finding one it is important to know what to look for, carefully checking the reverse lettering of any 1992 penny, especially those with a D mint mark, and comparing them to standard coins, because even though the odds are extremely slim the possibility that another undiscovered specimen exists is real, and that slim chance is what keeps treasure hunters sifting through rolls of pennies from banks, searching through coin jars at yard sales, and examining pocket change under magnifying glasses, hoping that lightning might strike and they might be the lucky one to hold in their hand a coin worth hundreds of millions, and in the end the 1992 penny valued at $$ for 12 million is not just about money, it is about the magic of discovery, the allure of rarity, and the enduring human fascination with objects that connect us to history in unexpected ways, turning a humble cent into a legend that continues to inspire awe, speculation, and the eternal hope that even the smallest things in life can hold unimaginable value. One of the most fascinating stories in the world of coin collecting, a story that has captivated both serious numismatists and casual treasure hunters alike, because it revolves around something so ordinary yet so extraordinary when looked at closely, the 1983 1-cent penny coin, which in some cases has reached a staggering value of $342 million. Making it one of the most shocking examples of how a small piece of copper-plated zinc can become worth thousands or even millions of times more than its face value simply because of errors, mistakes, and unique variations that were never meant to leave the mint. And as we explore this coin today we'll uncover why a simple penny, which most people toss aside or let accumulate in jars, can turn into a piece of history and fortune all due to errors and circumstances beyond ordinary production. The story of the 1983 penny begins in a period of transition for U.S. coinage, because in 1982 the United States Mint changed the composition of the 1-cent coin from being mostly copper to being copper-plated zinc, which meant that many dies, minting tools, and processes were undergoing modifications, and whenever such changes happen the chances for mistakes, misstrikes, and odd variations skyrocket. And it is precisely from this period of transition that the 1983 penny draws its fame. Because the mint produced coins with double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, and even missing mint marks, and these rare variations are what turn a coin that is technically only worth a cent into a collectible piece worth astronomical amounts. One of the most famous variations is the 1983 double die penny, where the inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust appear with a doubled appearance due to a die that struck improperly, and because very few of these double die coins were ever released into circulation they became prized by collectors, who compete intensely in auctions to secure them, driving the value higher and higher. And with each well-preserved example the rarity multiplies, making the coin a crown jewel of modern coin errors. Another reason why the 1983 penny has drawn attention is the possibility of being struck on the wrong metal planchet, because while most coins after 1982 were zinc with a thin copper coating, some errors occurred where leftover copper planchets were mistakenly used, meaning that a 1983 penny could actually be solid copper. And those mistakes are incredibly rare and often verified through weight tests, since copper pennies weigh 3.11 grams while zinc pennies weigh only 2.5 grams, and collectors are always on the lookout for these heavy variants which can fetch prices in the millions. Beyond the composition errors, there are mint mark oddities, because pennies from different mints such as Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco sometimes display missing or faint mint marks, and a missing mint mark can significantly increase rarity, since the mint is supposed to identify where each coin comes from, but a 1983 penny missing such a feature suddenly becomes an anomaly in the official records. And anomalies in numismatics often translate to immense value. Collectors also look for striking errors like broad strikes, off-center coins, clipped planchets, and misaligned dies, all of which create visual oddities that stand out against normal coins, and since these types of errors are not intentionally produced but rather slip through strict quality controls, they are extremely uncommon, thus commanding exceptional prices in private sales and public auctions. the hype and mystery surrounding the 1983 penny that has been valued at $342 million likely stems from the extreme rarity of a unique specimen that combines multiple errors, perhaps a double die on a copper planchet with a missing mint mark. A once-in-a-lifetime combination that numismatists agree could be considered priceless because it would be nearly impossible to replicate and would hold historical significance as a symbol of minting transition and human error in a system designed for perfection. People often ask why collectors would pay such astronomical amounts for something that was originally worth 1 cent, and the answer lies in the world of rarity, demand, and history, because money is not just about what it can buy but also about what it represents, and a penny that holds a story of error, chance, and survival across decades is seen as a treasure, a piece of art shaped by accident, and an investment that will only grow in value as time passes. Stories like this ignite the imagination of everyday people who may rush to search through jars of coins, bank rolls, or even pocket change, hoping to stumble upon that one special penny that could change their lives forever. And while the odds are slim, the possibility exists, and that possibility alone fuels a worldwide fascination with coins like the 1983 penny. The true allure is that something so small and overlooked can hold secrets of history and chance, and while many will never find such treasures, the knowledge that they exist keeps the hunt alive, making coin collecting not just about value but about the thrill of discovery, the passion for detail, and the dream that one day a simple coin could transform into a legendary piece worth hundreds of millions. And so as we reflect on the tale of the 1983 penny, we see not just a coin but a reminder that in the ordinary hides the extraordinary, that mistakes can create wonders, and that history often leaves behind mysteries in the smallest of places, waiting for those with sharp eyes and patient hearts to uncover them. Which is why the 1983 1-cent penny remains a shining symbol of how value is not always about the number printed on the surface but about the rare stories embedded in its very metal.